If you're having a problem with your fuel selector, or you're only getting fuel on just reserve or on, if you're on a sit down, the selector is probably going to look like this. There's a little Phillips screw. You remove that, this pops off, and then there's two Phillips screws, and then you could pull this from the inside of the hole and inspect it. These are usually labeled. Reserve is going to come from your longer pickup tube in your fuel tank. On is going to be the shorter, and then the middle hose, the third hose, is going to go to the carburetor. So you could remove this and try blowing into the line that goes to the carburetor. Turn the selector and see if it's clogged up inside of there. I don't know if you can actually take them apart and clean them. Sometimes critters get in there, or sometimes corrosion, ethanol, fuel, whatever. So you could test the selector by blowing into a hose. Turn the selector and see if you get air out of the reserve, and then turn it the other way, see if it goes to the on, and then there should be a position where it's for the off setting. The other thing to check on your fuel tank, this is off a 750 sit down, and these things are labeled to reserve. It's the longer one, on is the shorter one, and then the arrow pointing in is the vent. Is the return line. The vent, which should have a one-way valve to let air into the tank. It's a good idea to check, make sure that works. But the other thing to check is these pickup tubes. They could be cracked, could be damaged. So if there's an issue with these, and there's supposed to be a filter here. Sometimes there's an issue with these. Sometimes you can clean these up, slide a hose over it, and put it to the length you want, and then run a fuel filter. Make sure it's for a PWC fuel filter, so if it gets water in there, it doesn't clog up so it shouldn't have a paper element inside the fuel filter. But if you're having a problem with your selector, the ski runs on reserve but not on, or the other way around, check the selector itself. But check it's a good idea to check your fuel tank pickups, see if there's any damage to those. So that's some things to check.